Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You know I love your restaurant. We come here all the time, right? So, but tell us, where are you from, Joe?
I'm Lebanese.
Lebanese. Okay. And when did you come to this country?
1998.
98.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking a second ago. You came to this country with a purpose, right? Was it to start a restaurant, or what was the reason for coming here?
The reason this is the freedom country, and I would love to be here. And we start business 2002.
Okay. Was it this one here?
No, I just moved when I came 1998 to Minneapolis.
Okay.
But I don't like the weather, it's so cold. So I moved here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I start here gas station.
Okay.
And then I moved to construction, and then now in a restaurant business.
So was this the first restaurant business?
Correct.
In Florida, right? In Tampa.
Correct.
And that's when it was known as Manioteca.
Correct.
Okay. And then it was very successful, and now it went from the corner to now you've pretty much the entire block? Or?
Correct. We try to change something, like, downtown is coming up, like, that's why we try to...
I've been here for dinner, by the way. Dinner here is fantastic. Fantastic ambiance. So real quick, so you've been in this country since what, 98, you said?
Correct.
Okay. And do you visit Lebanon?
Yes.
Okay. Is it beautiful in Lebanon?
Amazing.
The beaches?
Beaches or...
And the weather. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
One last thing. So what do you want people to know about Dio? What kind of food? What's the...
Dio, we have like very healthy food.
Okay.
Modern Mediterranean food.
Okay.
So basically, we do all the touch up, like the flavors, like what I like to do, like back home.
Okay.
So this is like, we're mixed. My wife is Greek, I'm Lebanese. So we make both combination, and we're coming with this menu. I know you try everything because you've been here every day, right?
Every day I try something new.
Thank you.
And also, the wine selection. Now you're gonna do a full liquor license.
Correct.
But the wine selection, you have wines from Spain. If I try Spain, California, where else?
Greek
and Italian.
and Italian, and I'm gonna carry Lebanese wine too.
Lebanese wine. Ooh.
What made you get into the restaurant business? Because you had other businesses. Like, what made you think about restaurant specifically?
I love kitchen,
Okay.
and I'm good in the kitchen. That's why I've been in this business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm not. That's why I come to eat.
Well, I can't wait to try the Lebanese wine. Do you have some now? I can't do it today, but
I think I have some Lebanese wine. Let me go check and get you
not
some.
today. But maybe when I come this weekend. Okay.
Sure, for sure.
So I know we talked about doing this before, having a sort of like a little podcast, video cast, trying to introduce members of the community, the Tampa legal community, judges, lawyers,
Shakers, yeah, definitely.
Right. Doctors, judges, and stuff. But he also wanted to highlight, different restaurants. So today, obviously we chose Dio Modern Mediterranean. If you want to show that. Okay.
There you go.
All right. I love it here because the atmosphere, the food's great, and as you can see, the ambiance is great.
And the music too.
And the music. But let's start with you, Eddie. I compliment you because I met you before you were a lawyer, and I was just impressed on how you went from doing real estate. I joke how we met through social media, we met through friends, mutual friends. One day you sent me a message saying, "Hey, who's your contact? Who's your go-to person for the media and stuff like that?"
course.
And I'm thinking, well, he's in real
Who's
estate,
this guy?
so right. Well, no, I'm thinking he's into real estate. He's doing it for real estate purposes.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're telling me that you graduated from law school and that you're going to go into practice of law. I'm like, wow, okay, this guy's stealing my thunder. So with that being said,
Sorry about that.
no, that's okay. Hey, there's plenty
Now we're
to go
doing
around.
videos together. Look at that.
Well, because we're friends, and that's
We are.
that's the beauty of Tampa. Listen, there are no competitors. I think when we talk to Bryant in a second, there are no competitors. We're all pretty much family. You go to other jurisdictions. I think Bryant will confirm this. If you go to other jurisdictions, Pinellas County, I don't think the camaraderie is there. I think you have a lot of conflict. You have a lot of jealousy. Envy. Here we all kind of look for each other. Look out for each other. Some of my closest friends are competitors for the same market: criminal law, federal. I can see where PI might be a little more cutthroat, but for the most part, I think we're family here. So
Most of my PI friends are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty neutral, yeah.
all right, so tell us a little bit. Where are you from originally?
Well, I'm from New Jersey.
Okay.
Family of Cuban immigrants.
Okay. Were you born in Cuba or in Jersey?
I was born in New Jersey.
Okay.
I've been in Tampa most of my life since I was 2 years old.
Okay.
So
Okay.
both my parents are both Cuban from Cuba.
Okay.
And we love Florida. It's a good place.
So how long you been in Florida?
I just turned 40.
Okay.
So I would say 38 years.
Okay. All right. And then where'd you go to high school?
Lato High School.
You went to Lato. So did I. What year?
I graduated in 98. Well, I went to Jefferson for 2 years.
Okay.
And then Lato for 2 years. My mom was smart. My mom didn't want me to go to Lato because my friends were there. She's like, I'll wait till they all drop out, which they did.
Okay.
And then she sent me to Lato after. Smart woman.
Listen, parents and moms always the best.
Yeah.
Okay, I was class of 85.
Okay.
Everything okay?
I think so.
Okay.
Just to make sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go to college?
I actually started college at 31.
Okay.
So I went to
Interesting.
HEC and then USF
Okay.
and then law school straight.
All right, great. Wow, non-stop, man.
Well, because I owned the clinic before for
That's true.
13 years.
That's true. Okay, but you had that drive, and that's what I love about, minorities, people of color, Latinos. They have that drive. They want to get, they want to make life better for themselves.
I agree.
And so, and then you graduated from law school, 2 years ago, we said, right?
Yeah, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you hit the ground running, man. I mean, you've been non-stop.
Yeah, so I opened up the firm in 2017. I took the bar the first time. I missed it by a point overall, which was not fun, as you know. And then I passed it the second time.
But you didn't give up. That's the beauty of it.
Well, I opened up the firm 2 days later.
Okay.
So actually, I passed the test. I got my first client the same day I posted that I passed the bar, and then I signed my first client within the second day. And I had to hurry up and rush to get them to fax the oath.
Interesting.
That way I can get someone to sign it.
Okay.
And on the way to sign up a new personal injury client, I stopped at Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
I changed all these other forms from another attorney.
Oh, wow.
Signed up my first client. And then the next day I signed up another one. Next day I signed up another one. And that's kind of how I
It's been
started.
non-stop.
So far over 300 in the first year.
That's pretty cool, man. That's
So
pretty
it's
good. That's
stuff.
that energy, that drive that we're talking about, man. That's awesome, man.
Well, I got people that want to.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Well, it's funny because, and I appreciate you saying that, but I've always looked up at the people that, whether they be younger than me or my generation, or maybe above me in terms of years experience, that drive, that you don't give up. And that's the beauty of it. That's good, man. So, well, no, I think, Brian, do you have any questions for Eddie?
No.
Okay.
I think you covered it.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. I take that back.
Yeah, man.
So right now, what does your practice consist of mostly?
Personal injury.
It's okay. So
Yeah, personally on the other side, not the defense side. You mentioned Walmart. It's funny. I just want to have a case against Walmart now. But yeah, I started personal injury, and I kind of want to learn a little bit criminal for the cash flow purposes. And I did family law for a very short period of time because of cash flow, because personal injury takes a year to get paid.
Yeah.
So finally now I started getting paid, which is nice, but it took a year for that to happen.
Are you litigating any cases, or are you doing mostly?
We are litigating.
Able to settle any of them pre-suit?
Well, we are settling a lot in pre-suit, but we are now filing suit in a lot of cases.
Okay.
Because I don't want to roll over.
Yeah.
It's not my style.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So the next person in the hot seat is my friend Bryant Scriven. So Bryant, I know we talked about this before though, and I've known you for about maybe 20 years, I think.
Oh, about that. Yeah.
About 20 years. Start with, I always love to know where my friends come from, what drove them to become lawyers, what drives them to continue being a lawyer. 'Cause I know I have a lot of lawyer friends who get their law degree and have no desire to practice law, or they're in it but they regret doing it.
Yeah.
So let's start with, originally, where are you from?
Yeah. So originally I'm from Brooksville, Florida. It's a small town about an hour north of Tampa.
Okay.
Ironically, I didn't want to be a lawyer when I was young. I didn't decide on going to law school until probably my junior year of college. I went to University of Florida. For undergrad, I was a political science major. I wanted to go into politics.
Okay.
And
That's interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah, I wanted to go into politics.
What would you have done?
And so,
Mayor of Brooksville? Or?
I don't know. You know what? I mean,
running?
no. You know what? I mean, I didn't have a specific job that I wanted. I mean, I just felt like I wanted a seat at the table.
Okay.
And so, whatever that was, and so. Law school was kind of like a natural thing after that. So, I went to law school again, still planning on going into politics, being a lobbyist. but
And you went to, where did you go to law school?
I went to University of Florida for law school.
In undergrad?
I did undergrad and law at University of Florida.
Okay.
I got full scholarship to their law school, so it made it an easy decision for me. So,
Very nice. Okay. So after law school, what'd you do?
Okay, so after law school, I got a job at the state attorney's office down here as a prosecutor.
What year was that?
This was in 2003.
Okay.
So in 2003, I came down and started as a prosecutor here in Tampa.
And you did that for how long?
I stayed there for 2 years. So in 2005, I left the prosecutor's office. I went to an insurance defense firm, Wicker Smith, and I stayed there for about a year.
Okay.
Basically, we litigated insurance defense cases.
Did you like? I mean, you went from being a criminal prosecutor to now insurance defense. What did you think of that transition?
Yeah, it was very different. I mean, because I went from having a caseload of 400, 500 cases at a time, to like 10 cases. And so, in insurance defense, you have to bill, in order to get paid. So you have to bill hourly, and you have to keep track of your hours. And so, it was a different mindset. I think just trying to, stretch out.
Sure.
I mean, I want to bill, 50 hours a week on these 10 cases, and so I thought it was kind of an inefficient way to practice law, just based on what I was doing as a prosecutor, where you gotta, you gotta move through cases quickly.
Okay.
So.
All right. So you did the year, and then you went into private practice all on your own.
Yep. Okay. So I went into private practice about a year after that. I think. In March of 2007, I started my practice.
By yourself, or did you have a partner?
No, it was by myself, and I was ready to get out of insurance defense, but what kind of pushed me into doing my own thing was everybody knew that I was a former prosecutor. I mean, I had made a lot of friends with other attorneys in the community like yourself, and so someone actually referred me a criminal defense case. Okay. And so I was like, well, hey,
first case.
My first case. And so
and that led to snowball.
And so that kind of snowballed, and so 12 years later.
Is it easier for you to defend people accused of crimes than it was to prosecute?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Well, and I think it's just part of my personality, to be honest with you. I felt like when I was prosecuting, I didn't have as much discretion as I wanted, in making plea offers and even decisions to prosecute. There are certain cases that I didn't feel like needed to be prosecuted personally, and so I think that was probably.
But as a prosecutor, you didn't have necessarily that discretion to say, "I'm not going to prosecute you," because you had a supervisor or chief to say.
Exactly. Okay. So you prosecute what's put on your desk.
Right. But as a defense attorney, though, isn't it fair to say, though, that still now you do lack control and discretion, right? Because if you're defending a guy that you know in your heart doesn't deserve to go to prison, but the prosecutor you're going up against says, no, he does need to go. So isn't there like the same frustration, the same sense of frustration that you're not, you don't have the power to do the right thing and help this guy out because now it's beyond your control, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, you certainly don't have as much control as as when you were a prosecutor. So yeah, I mean, your influence is diminished really in a lot of ways. Prosecutors have tremendous power, but at least I feel like I can be on the right side of the argument,
Right.
And as a defense attorney, I mean, in working for myself, I can choose what cases I take and what cases I don't take. So, and so I like that flexibility.
Now, earlier when Eddie was talking, again, I admire the fact that his parents were from Cuba. He went to Lake High School. I went to Lake High School, but he had that drive. And I met Eddie before he was a lawyer, and he had that drive. So I alluded to it earlier with you. What drives you to want to be a lawyer and stay as a lawyer? What's the drive?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, growing up, I mean, like my parents were very, I wouldn't call them. I mean, there were certain expectations like growing up. I mean, and you were expected, to not only do well in school, go to college, have a profession and succeed, and do well, work hard. And so I think, whether I'm doing this or anything else, I think my attitude would have been the same. I mean, I think it was instilled in me at a very young age that whatever you do, you do it 100%. You work as hard at it as possible. And, that's what I tell my kids as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's anything unique about the law. I mean, I definitely think that when you're doing something that you enjoy, it's much easier to do that.
So are there days that Bryant Scriven wakes up in the morning and says, I don't want to do this anymore?
And this morning,
okay, that's fair.
I think we all relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
Was there something on the agenda that made you want to say that, or just one of those? Was it Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, today's Wednesday. It's like, and you know this from doing criminal law. I mean, oftentimes you'll have 5 different courtrooms to be in at the same time. Right. And sometimes you got to try and figure out where to go first and what to get covered. And so yeah, there's always that that stress and anxiety. But
I know Eddie, you're off camera, and I didn't ask you this question. Same thing. Are there days where you don't want to be a lawyer?
Oh, some days it's overwhelming. I mean, this job, it's definitely mentally it's overwhelming. Right. Especially when you hit Friday, you're like, wow, that's a long week.
Very nice.
But at the same time, we're making changes to people's lives. I think it's very rewarding for many reasons. But there's days that you're like, wow, okay. But this thing was a little easier.
So I guess the food's probably going to come out in a minute, and then I'd love to get the camera to focus on the food. But as far as I don't know if it's going to be the last question, but before I'm sure our food comes is served. Any advice to any young wannabe lawyer, somebody who's contemplating, should I go to law school, should I not? Any advice? Because I've had lawyer friends tell me, or in front of my kids, I have 2 in law school who said, don't do it. They don't, my kids will say, any advice? Yeah, don't go. Graduate, do something else, So what about you? Any words of advice?
And this is my thing, and what I would tell anybody who wants to be a lawyer is to really examine yourself. Make sure that you actually want to be a lawyer, because I find a lot of people want to go to law school and be a lawyer, because they feel like, lawyers make a lot of money, or lawyers have a certain status. And I think if people go to law school, to become an attorney for those reasons, they'll be disappointed. Okay. You really have to want to be a lawyer, I think, in order to really enjoy this and last. Quite honestly, I mean, if you're only interested in the money, there are other professions to go into. If that's your sole focus. I mean, yeah, you can certainly make a good living, in law, but I mean, it requires so much of you.
What's funny, one of the earliest memories I have in law school, I went to Stetson, but one of the earliest memories was one of my trial team partners at Stetson. She wanted to, I'll never forget, she wanted to be a public defender. And at the time, I wanted to be a public defender. And I'll never forget, we were interviewed. We both tried out for the public defender's clinic. Are we good? Say again? Oh, the battery already? Okay. So you don't have a next one? Okay. Long story short, I'll never forget, that question was asked of my trial team partner, why do you want to be a lawyer? I want to be a lawyer to be a public defender. I want to save the world. And that, our teacher said, if that's what you want to, if that's where you want to go to school, then don't do it, because you're not going to be able to save the world. You may be able to save one person at a time, but not the world.
So tell me about you, Brian. I know a little bit about you, but for everybody that doesn't know about you.
Because, we've known each other for so long. Like your parents, my parents were from another country, but they were from Costa Rica. And my dad was a dreamer. I love my dad. He's still alive, but he's living in Costa Rica. It's funny how his dreams brought him to America, but when the dreams were unfulfilled, he went back to Costa Rica. And he's living somewhere in some little apartment, pretty much by himself. But his dream was to come to America. He dreamed of being a writer, a teacher, a poet, you name it.
Now you're a writer.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. But that came from him. My mom, on the other hand, I don't think she ever wanted to leave Costa Rica. She had her whole family. She was the youngest of 8 people there, so she had everything she needed. She was the baby. And so she came with my dad. They did the whole New York thing. They lived in the Bronx. I was there till about 4. My dad was drafted in the Army, and then because he hated the cold weather in the Bronx, they decided to come to Tampa, Florida. And I've been here since about 4. And I never thought I'd be a lawyer. I thought I was going to be a writer, a dreamer, a poet, you name it, because that's the dream that my dad instilled in me. And he pushed that. That's what I loved about my dad. He pushed me into the arts, just like I pushed my kids into the arts, and they all ended up going, 2 of them, to law school now. It's the weirdest thing how that, it's that negative, what do you call it, that reverse psychology. Went to Lato High School, went to HCC, went to USF. I met my wife in high school sweethearts. She pushed the idea of either law school or medical school. And so I decided to do the law school route. And I also dabbled in the idea, or toyed with the idea of being into politics. I love politics. Now I'm, at my 51, I'm so discouraged by what's going on in our political realm that I have no faith in our politicians, and it is what it is. And so, but I'm 51 and I still have that dream, and so I might do something. But that was the reason behind going to law school, was that, all right, if I do this, if I do law school, then I'm going to use it to be a politician, sort of like what Bryant talked about, maybe at a local level. But at the end of the day, so far, no. I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I prosecuted at the state attorney's office, at the U.S. attorney's office for 10 altogether. And then I've been in private practice for about 15 years. And just in a nutshell, the only frustration that I have, I love what I do. The only frustration is mainly at the U.S. attorneys, at the federal level, I should say, is that lack of control. In state court, I can negotiate with Bryant Scriven and say, hey, Brian, give me a great deal, and we'll work it out. In federal, it's out of our control. So to me, federal is my least favorite aspect, and that's why I don't do it as much as I should. But at the end, I love my job so much so that I think my kids, especially my 2 older ones, saw how much passion I have for my job, that I guess they're going to follow my footsteps. So I love the law, man. There are days when I don't want to wake up, and just rather stay in bed. That's because I know I have a trial coming up, or I know a guy's going to be sentenced to 25 years and there's nothing I can do about it. Those are the days I want to stay in bed. But at the end of the day, sometimes the judge will change his mind. Not give him 25, maybe give him 15. Not necessarily the best of endings for the client, but somewhat of a win.
Yeah,
right?
It's definitely a win.
So that's it, man. So, but I love my Tampa community. But I'm always challenging myself. As you know, I'm studying for the New York bar. A lot of my friends think I'm crazy, but I'm doing that. That's a lot of my friends think that I'm nuts for doing that. But it's just, I'm 50, and I keep saying that. I've said it 3 or 4 times already. I embrace my age. I'm not afraid of it. I don't shy away from that fact. But I don't want to be that guy who's 50, 60, 70 and say, you know what did I do with my life? I want to keep challenging myself. I don't want to be that guy who slowed down and then he disappeared. Like, whatever happened to so-and-so? So that's my life in a nutshell. So with that, that's it.